Well, it's Wednesday wrestling, and you know what that means. So today we're going to keep it very, very short for you due to the fact there is no MLW today because there is no new episode, but they are throwing some older ones. I feel it's a little waste for now, but however, I will add in other than AEW Dynamite, we also got the latest ChocoPro by Gatoh Move for 115. So, on the other hand, let's get started with another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay, right here. So let's begin with Gatoh Move's latest Choco Pro episode 115. This one had a very interesting main event, but however, let's see what happened before that. The first match all the way to the third match. The first match we have Koishikawa taking on Yuna Mizunori. As you know, Jay is a very high energy wrestler, but Yuna, she is very, very not of aggressive type, but more of a powerhouse. She used all of that in order to win her match in that way. She put her in a very interesting submission move, but however, that's just another story. The next match, we have members of the Pencil Army, Lulu Pencil and Minoru Fujita taking on the Asian Dream Tag Team Champions in a non-title match, the Best Bros, Balianaki and Mei Shigura. This was a match that we have seen many times over. I don't know. There's been various people that challenge the Best Bros for the titles, but however, they continue to impress not only just me, but those who are into this type of match. You know, I was like, I'm a big Best Bros fan. I love the Best Bros because they have a unique how they talk. Even there's times I see Mei Shigura, she gets a little angry, but he is a very not like aggressive, but more high energy, high spirit type who knows he has to win at any cost, but he has to do it in a fashion where he can win in a good way. So, but however, it did help out when it was in fact Meisha Girl who pinned Lulu Pencil. And once again, the Pencil Army continues in a losing streak against the Best Pros since they're unable to pick up a victory. Now, this next match, it's a bit of a grudge match between former member of the Pencil Army, Chris Brooks, taking on Emi Sakura. This match was intense. Brooks was being much of a prick who didn't want to play by the rules, just beating her senselessly. The match ended up in a no contest because Chris Brooks crossed the line. The ref tried to stop it, who was in fact Mei Shigura. Apparently, Chris Brooks attacked everyone, including the camera guy. So this match ended in no contest. But however, I don't know what's gonna happen then, since Chris Brooks has a problem with the Pencil Army in losing streaks. There have been some successful wins, but however, I think Chris Brooks has it in that mind. How low can they get? But we'll see what happens in the upcoming Choco Pro. What's gonna take place. So right now, let's move on with AEW Dynamite. All right. So right now, AEW Dynamite, a very, very good show today. Opening match was the IWGP United States Heavyweight title again between challenger the legend Yuji Nagata against John Moxley, the current champion. Now, this was a very interesting turn of events for us pro wrestling fans. Now, you probably saying, why is that important? Simple. AEW has been trying for a long time to start a partnership with New Japan, but however, it was no luck because of a different president that they had at the time, Harold Mage. But however, Harold Mage is no longer with the company. Looks like we are now seeing certain wrestlers that could come in. So, but let's talk about this match. This was a very interesting match because it's more of a like think of it of the MMA style, but more interpret it into wrestling. It was like a very good one. However, you can say it wasn't a good match, but however, I would like to say it did show a little bit of the character of John Moxley, who is a fighting champion. He's always been a fighting champion. Not only that, he was the longest reigning AEW World Champion, but he was able to put Yuji Nagata in the paradigm shift, allowing himself to win the match, and how, but also gain the respect to Yuji Nagata, who we all know is a legend, who wants to continue wrestling at the age of 70. Now, because of what's been happening last week, Inner Circle, they're down 2 men. We saw Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, and Ortiz. As you know, Santana was arrested thanks to MJF because he struck them with the fork, and we all know what happened to Jericho. But they're demanding a rematch because of the way they lost. As you know, MJF threatened to push or shove Jericho off the ledge of the steel cage to concrete. And when they surrendered, he just pushed it anyway. He got very low for that. Now, Cody Rhodes put on a very interesting promo. For ever since the factory made their presence known within the Nightmare family, Cody has been struck many times over by Anthony Ogogo with his fist right to the ribs. But he did say that he's going to do something different. He offered a challenge to Anthony Ogogo, but however, this is what he says. For one night only, Cody will not be going into this match as the American Nightmare. This has now become a fight between a British fighter versus an American fighter. And he's calling himself for one night only in memory of his father, the American Dream. This is something unique, and this is going to take place at Double or Nothing. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. Now, this next match is the tag team titles for the AEW World titles. Tag team titles between SCU and, of course, the Young Bucks. However, you know for a fact you got the Good Brothers right there helping out. So is Brandon. The match was so intense. I was like, wow. There was a moment where CD was bleeding. He was losing a lot of blood. He was wobbly. He couldn't see straight. There were many times the Young Bucks had the matches. They even mocked that whole story with Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, but that didn't work in this one either way. But however, because they cheated a way through, Don Callis being saying, oh, they're trying to help them, all this. They think they're the good guys in the story. But they won the match in a cheating way. But however, their night wasn't even that good at all because in the cameras they showed Moxley and Kingston thrash their dressing room. Yep, you heard me. I thought it was funny, like sending a statement to them because they had been dealing with them ever since John Moxley lost the title to Kenny and the Bucks turning on him. And of course, they didn't even blow him and Kingston up in that ring in that exploding barbed wire match. Now, in the interview with Dasha, we all know Christian Cage what he wants. You see, he thinks the Taz is etiquette, this technique about how he's unable to do. He thinks that it's not accurate. But however, he put himself in an open challenge to anybody. But he also did state it he's going to be involved in the battle royale. We all know whoever wins will get a shot of the AEW World title. I'm excited to see that too. But however, Not only he will be the only one in Battle Royal, Matt Sydal said he's in it, but he also accepted the open challenge. This is going to be interesting. It's going to take place next week. Now, we have a number one contenders for the AEW World title between Orange Cassidy and Pac. This was part two of a match that took place last year in Revolution at Chicago between Orange Cassidy and Pac, which Pac won. But this match was so good. I enjoyed it. But however, Don Callis decided to distract referee while Kenny showed up and attacked Pac to ensure both men win double countout. This is their way to ensure no number one contender. But however, Tony Khan was disgusted for what happened. He sent his messenger Tony Schiavone to let him forward that at Double or Nothing is going to be a triple threat match for the AEW World title. Don Callis and Kenny does not like that, but however, he has to put the title on the line. So they are not happy with it. Now, we as we remember I mentioned, Moxley and Kingston destroyed the Elite dressing room. Now, the Bucks sent out a clear message after beating the SU. They are the next contenders, and the top ranking was nothing the Varsity Blondes. That match will take place, but however, their primary focus is John Moxley and Kingston. So they looks like they're gonna challenge them at Double or Nothing. It wouldn't surprise me that they will put those titles on the line against them at Double or Nothing. That would be cool, but I'll be happy to see how that plays out. Now, as you know, a couple weeks ago, Brian Cage, along with Team Taz mostly beat up Hangman Page to ensure he drops out of the number one ranking, and he ended up in number 5. However, Hangman Page came up with the proposition. He kind of had that distinct feeling that maybe Brian Cage is not satisfied with the win because he feels he didn't earn it. So basically, he's telling him, "Leave your little group behind. Face me as a man. Fight me. Earn it." Hangman said he's okay with the idea if he loses. But the real question is, can Brian Cage accept his if he loses? That is a good question. To me, I enjoy this story. It makes sense. We have seen on certain occasions where Brian Cage does not like Taz speak on his behalf. That could have led to the same kind of thing. That's gonna take place at Double or Nothing. So basically, this is more of the ranking type, but we'll see what happens. I don't know what Brian Cage or Team Taz will say. They weren't there today, but it was good. Now, there was an interview. Never mind. There was the coordination of the Pinnacle. As you know, they were celebrating the fact they feel they're on top, and they refuse not to accept the rematch that the Inner Circle requests. But however, I know this part people are going to criticize it. Now, I understand that. I understand that. We all saw what happened in the 90s with Stone Cold with the beer truck. But this is not beer. This is a little bit of the bubbly. I mean, who misses the classics? We don't see that often at WWE. It's not like they're mocking them. They're like saying, we're going to do some of the old stuff that you won't do anymore. So it's kind of like that. I know people will be critical and criticizing that type of thing. But so what? WWE are not doing that. But I will explain something later on in another video about certain things that WWE is now fully aware that divides the group in half, which is the wrestlers and the top officials. But however, when they showed up with 4 members of the Inner Circle, MJF refused the rematch, but however, they got sprayed with a little bit of the bubbly. But however, MJF gladly accepted the rematch, but however, the stipulations are not exactly what they expected. As you know, the Inner Circle lost in a familiar match last year at Double or Nothing. If you guys can guess it, it's going to be the Stadium Stampede. But that's not the worst part. MJF said that if the inner circle loses, they must break up. MJF will not be satisfied. He now knows now, in the point of his view, he couldn't even get rid of the inner circle completely. He may have beaten them at Bloods and Guts, but it's not enough. So it's still unclear whether they will accept the challenge. We're not that far off, but we'll see what happens down the line. Or maybe next week, or we'll just follow it on Twitter. Then we have an interview with Britt Baker, who feels now that she's overconfident, believing that she can beat Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's title. As you know, she did have a bit of a grudge with her ever since the pandemic took place when their shows were being done in Atlanta. As you know, she had a grudge with her. She fought with her. Not only that, Shida broke her nose. And now it appears that she feels that she will take the title and she will be the true leader of the women's division. So we'll see what happens, even though she also doesn't understand something else. Even if she wins the title, there is someone who will be next in line at the number one spot. If you guys can guess it, is my next match, Thunder Rosa taking on Jasmine Allure. But I can tell you that match ended with Thunder Rosa and with the Thunder Fire Driver, and that means this is going to be. But Thunder Rosa will pay attention at Double or Nothing. What's going to happen? I'm excited to see that. Now we do see a interview with Jade Cargill. Now Shivani interviewed about which manager would she take on, who will be the one handling her business. But Jade made it perfectly clear that she will be the one handling her business. So basically, she cannot trust anybody because, as you know, they will try to take a percentage of it. So basically, we'll see what's going to happen. But there's no offer put on the table. That's what she's been saying, and I have to agree with her 100%. Now, we get to the main event, which is the TNT Championship between Darby Allin and Miro. Miro viciously attacked Darby before the bell rings. He is so anxious to prove his destiny. I have to say, in this match, this is the Miro we should have seen in WWE. Now, for all you WWE fans are saying, we could have seen this in WWE. True. But blame whoever's in charge of the creative department. Because I can say this, they're a bunch of Oscar Mayer wieners. We can say, who the hell writes this stuff? If I were you guys, the writers, they suck. But this match played out pretty well for Miro. I have to say, AEW did something right. I know some of you were questioning the best friends thing, but honestly, we need to ask ourselves this. The best man thing, was this going to last with him and Kip Sabian? To be honest with you, I didn't think it was going to last long. I was thinking sooner or later it's going to dissolve. And I think the sign happened is when Miro defeated uh, Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy so he can focus on his bigger prize. And it played out pretty well. But the match was so good. But however, Sting was attacked once again by Paige and Sky, trying to prove another point, saying that Sting needs to leave. But it didn't go exactly like that. But one thing I did like in the match is where Darby turned to Sting. Now, Sting knows he can't tell him what to do, but he can tell him, keep on fighting. Sting was that type of guy. No matter what the odds were, he kept fighting until it's over. And he supports Darby Allin on that front. And I have to say, that match was great, but however, it was Miro who finally defeated Darby Allin, allowing himself to be the TNT champion. So, however, once again, Paige and Sky attacked Sting, but here comes Dark Order to give him a helping hand. But however, we had another surprise. This is the thing with Lance Archer coming out. Now, you probably say Lance Archer had no play. No, think about it. Sting told him, it's time for you to go showtime. I think right now what is happening is he's calling his shot, saying he is the next challenger for the TNT title. So basically, I believe he's following Sting's advice, something that Jake Roberts was unable to do because Sting agreed with them from the time, saying in that interview they had with Shivani, saying that I agree with you. Why did you disappear? I don't understand it. It's time for you to go showtime. Show him what you're made of. And he criticized Jake Roberts not doing that. But we'll see what happens next week because this is becoming more interesting. I can say this: I'm happy with Miro winning the match because we finally get to see the Miro we should have seen right from the start. But we did not see that with WWE. I know I can say this: WWE, you guys suck. You should have done this before, but you didn't. But no. But don't get me wrong. The Rusev Day was the best, but you didn't give him the brute that we needed. But that's how it is, and that's how I'm going to end it for everyone who's watching this. So I think that's pretty much it with AEW Dynamite. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, I kept it short. No MLW, but keep your clocks until July 10th on Vice TV. We will see MLW back. The next up, we got NXT UK, and of course, we got Impact Wrestling. So there'll be a lot of things going to be happening during this time. But however, there'll be more wrestling stuff that I will throw out in a couple of weeks. Don't forget that there's stuff coming up. This coming Sunday will be WrestleMania Backlash, which I don't like why they're calling it WrestleMania Backlash, but we'll see what happens. And don't forget, May 30th, Double or Nothing. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.